are back, ladies and gentlemen. How we feeling? We are rocking and rolling live from the break on the hottest show in the streets in terms of Alabama football talk. This is In My Own Words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, as I am live in studios. Ladies and gentlemen, we start the conversation with Paul Tyson, an individual of whom I feel will be the primary backup quarterback for Alabama football in the upcoming season, and will also potentially be the one to win Nick Saban the 7th national title, which will put him over Paul Bear Bryant in terms of national championships being won for the Crimson Tide. I know I mentioned part 2 of the show would be on the Mike Stoops hire and how I felt about that, Alabama bringing him in as a defensive analyst, and we will get to that to finish this segment of shows. However, when different news is brought in, we like to touch on the big information first. And before getting into that, last week was really good, and it started off with outside linebacker Ayabi Anoma removing himself from the transfer portal for the Crimson Tide. Alabama men's basketball got a huge win over Vanderbilt. There were a lot of great college basketball games over the weekend or last week, but kudos to Avery Johnson and the Crimson Tide on getting the win. College softball starting back up. That's always fun. The Alliance of American Football League, great product. Very impressed with the Birmingham Iron as it got a 26-0 win on Sunday over the Memphis Express. Trent Richardson, J.C. Halstenauer, Cole Mazza, Xavier Dixon, Bradley Seal, so many former Tide players with the Iron. That was cool to see. We had NBA trade talks going around, and the Grammys took place over the weekend. But despite all the entertainment, the excitement, the news and notes, there was a storyline on last week that national media missed. That national media did not run the way it should have ran it. And there is a major power, an elite power in college football that has won 2 of the last 3 college football playoff national titles. It's coming off a national championship for 2018 in defeating the Alabama Crimson Tide. And this particular power in question and its head coach was quoted over the weekend in saying that we may have unknowingly, accidentally, by mistake, given our players, given our student athletes performance-enhancing drugs. The program in question, if you haven't figured it out by now, Clemson, the head coach in question, Dabo Swinney. Now, to kind of catch you up on the situation, going back to December of the 29th, college football playoff semifinal, you had Alabama, Oklahoma, you had Clemson, Notre Dame. There was an investigation going on in Clemson, South Carolina, in terms of the banned substance Osterin. There were 3 players that tested positive for the substance. 2 of the players were not marquee guys. The main guy was Dexter Lawrence on the defensive line, in which he has declared for the upcoming NFL draft. But 3 players tested positive for the drug, for the banned substance, and Dabo Swinney running around like a chicken with its head cut off, trying to understand what's going on, what's happening, how to get in here, what is this substance, what caused it to be banned. He's sitting here trying to go over all the information in his mind, lost his 2 left shoes. Now, we transition from the 29th of December to over the weekend. There was a story that came out via the Post and Courier, a publication in South Carolina, in which Swinney tells the press, maybe the Clemson program, accidentally, unknowingly, by mistake, gave our players PEDs. Now, I want you to get a clear picture of this for a moment here. According to the same publication, Post and Courier, it was fewer than 20 players that had the substance Osterin in their system. Now, 3 players were caught, but it said fewer than 20. There had to be some players that took the field. Don't know who they are, don't know who they were, but there had to be some players that took the field for the national championship game that had the banned substance in their body playing against Alabama. And what sets me off about the entire topic is only one major national media outlet picked up the story, and that was Sports Illustrated. And it came after the Post and Courier put it out first. Only one sports media outlet, only one major outlet put it out. National media allowed for Dabo Swinney to get in front of a story and kind of quiet it down, allowing all the other events that took place over the weekend to get more shine. If this was Alabama, if this was Nick Saban, if this was the Crimson Tide being caught with performance enhancement drugs, it would have been a blown up story. There would be no way for Nick Saban to get out in front of the story and shut you down. There'd be no way. I mean, this story would have been on ESPN, NBC, Fox, CBS, CNN, Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated, Sport News. Everybody from Danny Cannell to Joel Klatt to Colin Cowherd to Clay Travis would have been doing podcast after podcast after podcast on this very subject. There would have been a ticker at the bottom of the ESPN thing going, Nick Saban, Alabama caught with performance enhancement drugs, developing story, bing, 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 bing. Lasers going everywhere. People would be shooting stories out the bakery on this topic. It would have been American Alliance Football League. Y'all great and all, but this is the moneymaker. This is Nick Saban. This is Bama caught with PEDs. College softball, y'all chicks can hit. Y'all women are great, but let me cut into y'all airtime. This is Bama caught with PEDs. NBA trade talk, Grammy Awards, that's all fine and dandy, but Alabama caught with PEDs. This is the story. There would have been no way for Nick Saban to even possibly shut the story down, because everybody and their mom would have ran that story. But for Dancing Dabo, for oh shucks it's Dabo, for bring my own guts Dabo, good old Clemson, to which they're not good anymore. This is a national power, won 2 of the last 3 national championships. After Nick Saban, the most dominant coach in college football right now is Dabo Swinney. And national media, let him get in front of the story, and shut you down. If this was Alabama, y'all better, NCAA, y'all better stop digging in on Mississippi and Memphis and Baylor and North Carolina, which they should be digging in on North Carolina. They should be digging in on Louisville, but that's besides the point. That's none of my business. But if this was Alabama, don't dig in on these programs. Y'all need to be digging in on Saban. I knew he was a cheater. I knew Bama was up to no good. I knew that water was tainted. I ain't no way in the world he could have got all of them recruiting classes. Ain't no way in the world he could have won all them titles. I knew Saban was doing something that he got no business doing. Everybody would have jumped on Bama's throat if it was Alabama busted with PEDs. And the thing that gets me about this entire situation, the fact that Dabo came out, according to the Post and Courier, saying how we thought the substance was okay. We thought the NCAA knew. Like, we thought we handled our due process. Nobody went out there to get a second opinion? Nobody went out there to get a second opinion. And I work for Touchdown Alabama magazine. Been doing this the last 10 years. And for all major outlets that cover Crimson Tide football, the thing for us is each year we have to run our credentials through the Alabama Athletic Department. so that they know who we are. We're not putting anything bad, anything defamatory, anything derogatory out. On the players, they know who we are. We have to run our stuff through to renew our credentials every year. So if we have to get our credentials renewed every year, if we have to run our stuff through the athletic department at Alabama, if Clemson was not sure about the banned substance Osterin being a banned substance, why not get a second opinion and run it through the NCAA? I mean, it's no excuse. We're living in the age of technology, people, to where you got the iPhone 10, you got the Apple Watch, we got the Echo Dot and Alexa. I can tell Alexa, hey Alexa, iron my clothes, and the iron is getting hot in the next 5 minutes. I can say, Alexa, I want a nice hot breakfast. In the next 10 minutes, my stove is being popped on, and all I gotta do is throw them eggs in there and scramble it. We're living in a technological era. If people did not recognize that Osterin was a banned substance, all you have to do, hey Google, hey Siri, hey Alexa, is Osterin a banned substance? And some would have been pulled up. Even players this day and age know what they're putting in their bodies. These players know. I'm not a Division I athlete. Don't claim to be. I'm just a 9-to-5 guy who enjoys covering college football. But even myself, if I put something in my body that's positive, my body's going to react. If I put something in my body that's negative, I know how my body's going to react. So these players know what they're putting into their bodies. And the fact that nobody went out to get a second opinion, run it through the NCAA, and at least check, just due to, like the National Football League, the banned substance for college football, that stuff's being updated every year. Substances are being added, some are taken away. According to the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, Osterin is prohibited for human use and human consumption. It is prohibited in all things sports. And when I look at the situation, you almost wonder, did somebody in Clemson's camp provide them with something that nobody just didn't check? Did it slip in? Did somebody drop something in something and Clemson just did not do the due diligence and see about it and check on it? Because you got to think, if it's fewer than 20 players on the banned substance, were they on the banned substance the entire season? Or was it just a national championship game? How much were they on? How much were they dependent on the substance in question? Now, I have to think about right there when you truly dive into it. But you got a lot of Alabama fans out there that share this sentiment. They're like, well, Clemson beat us fair and square. Don't worry about it. Not a big deal. If the shoe was on the other foot, if Alabama would have beaten Clemson as bad as Clemson beat Alabama in that game, and Alabama players were caught with performance enhancement drugs, and Nick Saban came out and said the same thing Dabo Swinney said, you think Clemson folks would be letting this down? No! Clemson folks would be hopping out the window on every single news station crying out, they cheated us! They cheated us! How dare them! How dare them! They're some cheaters! But I knew Bama was cheating. This ain't right. This ain't fair. NCAA, get on these guys. And Bama Nation, y'all would be like, Nick Saban, what in the world are you doing? Giving the players performance-enhancing drugs. I'm thinking we run a clean program over here in Titletown. What we doing? Where they do that at? What caused us to mess up? It ain't no clean program. No. If this was Alabama doing performance-enhancing drugs, the world would have stopped. Time would have stood still because everybody would have been putting that story out on Alabama doing PEDs. The fact that national media, that Dabo Swinney get in front of the story. But with Nick Saban, Nick, this is too big. This is money. This is page clicks. This is clickbait. This is huge. Can't let you get in front of the story, Nick. Can't let you shush it down. But the fact that it's just little old Clemson, it's just bring your own guts, Dabo. Aw, shucks, he didn't know. Aw, shucks, somebody might have put something in there. Aw, shucks, it ain't no big deal. You let Dabo Swinney get in front of the story and shush it down. But if this was Nick Saban, if this was Alabama, oh man, Channel 9, front page. Cannot escape this one, buddy. Can't escape this one. National media, at the end of the day, that the biggest news story of the weekend getaway was not any continuous coverage on the situation. And I'm appalled. We take our next break here on In My Own Words. When we get back, we will officially dive into the Mike Stoops story. As always, ladies and gentlemen, you check out the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app for all things Crimson Tide football, the very essence of the Alabama football program. You download it, the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if Team Android is your thing. We got the podcast option for you. You can check out the podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm. So many ways to check out the hottest form of Alabama football talk, In My Own Words. But like I said, when we get back, we touch on the Mike Stoops story, tidy up some loose ends. Don't go anywhere, folks. Be back. It's In My Own Words.